Hey guys, welcome back. So today is the 1,000 subscriber special. And I just wanted to first shout out everyone who's subscribed so far. This video is for you guys basically. It seemed like there was a large majority of people who wanted me to show how I make music inside of Ableton. So that's what today's video is. It's a little bit of a longer one, but there's lots of good stuff in there, so enjoy. So guys, welcome to the creation station. This is where I make all of my music. Probably noticed that quite a lot of the music that I make in the tutorials and releases are breakbeat heavy, and usually that's where I start. I don't always use breakbeats, but I think it's quite nice building blocks for like the tracks that I make. So I'm basically going to the jungle 1989 to 1999 sample pack. Some guy has gone through all of his jungle tracks from that period, and I'm gonna chop a break up like I do in my break tutorials. Break done, chopped up in just an interesting way to give it a bit of variation over a bar or so, and that sounds like this. And I've added the break fattener effects that I showed off in the first breakbeat tutorial, and I've added my own kick, which sounds like this. And I have also popped on a couple of effects on that as well. Yeah, just rolled off some of the high ends and the extreme lows, giving it a bit of drum bust with a bit of boom, some crunch, a bit transients, and then I've added an overdrive, which is an effect that someone told me about. Just adds a little extra to it. I'll show you kind of what it does. Makes it a bit fatter, a bit more kind of reverby, a bit more punchy really. And then I've just added this shaker as well, which is just playing 16th notes, so I'm just varying up the velocity to give it a bit of a groove, and then together. And that's kind of like usually where I start things off, and then I usually go and add some percussion, and then I'll think about some melodic elements. So what I've got going on here is just a small little pattern that I've set up out of the 808, just a couple of open hats and then open and closed hats, kind of like varying in velocity and stuff. And what I've done is just automated the returns for my repetitor and go MIDI effects. I kind of had them so that when one comes off, another goes on, just set them to full. You can hear those repeats, giving it kind of a nice rhythmic effect. And then finally what I'm going to do is automate this auto filter. So as you can hear, something like that sounds really cool. We can automate that without having to drag it ourselves using a shaper. And let's map that to the frequency. So moving quite fast at the moment. So at the moment it'll sound like this. It's just create quite a nice rhythm, but I think I want to slow it down a little bit. I set it to 1/3 to give a nice rhythmic chop. I think not going for an even number as well means that you get variation over time, because it's not going to always line up to the start of the beat each time. Alright, so now that we've got this together, let's have a listen. Cool, that's something that I'm quite happy with. I'm just now going to go away and add probably some of the rest of the percussion. My laptop is firing off at the moment, and I think you can handle all of this. Apologies if it's kind of loud. Alright, so basically I've added in some more closed hats. I fiddled with the smackos a little bit more. Sounds like this now. Basically I just slowed down the filter so that it kind of drops in and out, because I added some extra hats. Not much to be said about the hats, just been programmed in a little bit jauntily, and I've sent some of it to the repetitor to give it a little bit of extra summit, and then I've added in a clap. Sounds like this. And then I just added an LFO to manipulate how much of it gets sent to the repetitor. Just add a little bit of variation. I set that to 1.5, so that's constantly evolving as well. Just these kind of small things I think definitely help out. So together it sounds like this. Coolio. Next part I usually do is chop up the break just to grab the snare from it and reuse that, and then a pad in as well, and then I'll check back in. Alright, so I've added that break snare in. So basically what I did was I just worked out what slice that the snare was in, and it was on 2, as you can hear, or 4, but I just used 2 because it was easiest. I took out some of the extra lows, a bit of the highs, just so I was just getting the snare, and then I wrote in a little MIDI sequence. And as you can see, I sent it to a couple of effects as well. So this is just the break on its own, and this is it with the snare added over the top. This is everything together. Next, I grabbed a pad sound. Sounded a bit ravey. It was a little bit too kind of shrill. I kind of wanted it to sit back a bit because I think it would be better to have some of the leads take quite a lot of that sonic structure, well, that sonic sound area, whatever you want to call it. Basically, I just wanted to take off some of the high ends, roll it off a bit, so I've gone with something like this. I have that looping around, and then, as you can see, I filtered out the high ends, and I have an LFO just modulating the frequency just to move backwards and forward to give it a bit more movement and variation. So yeah, let's listen to that. Cool, and this is everything so far together. Cool, it's sounding groovy. Next thing I'll look to add is a main melodic element. So I've got a 303 which I'm liking the sound of. First off, I changed the pad so that it wasn't just running on one note, it was doing a little progression. And then I worked out that was kind of all in a major scale, so I whacked on the mono sequencer and then a C major, a MIDI effect which keeps everything within that scale. And then I just kind of randomized the pitch, velocity, octaves and duration until I got something I like, and it sounds a bit like this. I'll add a couple extra elements and then get back to you. So at this point, usually maybe I'd create 1 or 2 more extra melodic elements, and then when I have everything together, then I'll start auditioning stuff together, to start with just playing the kick, and the hats, and then maybe the pad. And then this would be the intro, and then I'd think maybe about bringing in some extra percussion. And then maybe the 303. Obviously you come in a little bit quieter. Cool, so I usually jam around with that and get an idea, get a sense of if I think that's enough elements to go make a track from. This would take a little bit longer for me to probably add a couple extra bits, and sometimes it's not a bad thing to have lots of different elements and maybe they slightly don't merge, because obviously if you're trying to put too much in and play it all at the same time, it's not going to sound great, but you don't have to have it all playing at the same time. Throughout the track, when you're composing it, you can obviously dip to use some of the other melodic elements in the intro or at the end. I think it's always a good thing to go into the arrangement view once you have a lot of material in your session view, probably 2 or 3 lanes of melodic elements, some kind of pad or chord progression to kind of keep everything moving, and then a fair amount of percussive elements that you can bring in and out. Obviously you can make more, well, you can add more to the arrangement view while you're in there, but I think jamming and be able to create elements in the session view allows you to be a little bit more creative and free-flowing with your ideas. If you are interested, let me know in the comments below if you want kind of part 2 of how I would take this then and arrange a track. Maybe I can add more elements to this as well in the meantime, so when I do get to the arranging the track, I have a little bit more content, because I think probably 1 or 2 extra melodic elements would definitely help here. Alright, so that's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something from that. Apologies if it's a little choppy. I had to cut down about 2 hours worth of beat making into about 10 minutes, so if anything isn't clear, just leave a comment below, and also leave a comment if you want that follow-up video. I'll catch you in the next one.